All our lives we've heard that saturated fats are bad for our health. Saturated fats are the ones found in meat, lard, and butter, and we've been told they cause inflammation, raise cholesterol levels, and damage the heart. But what if I told you there's a fat that's very high in saturated fatty acids, yet it does the exact opposite? It lowers cholesterol, reduces inflammation, and protects the heart. Curious? Watch until the end, because today you'll learn about the most underrated fat in the world, and by adding it to your diet, you can really support your health. And you can easily buy it at the store or maybe even make it yourself. You can add it to ready-made dishes. You can fry with it. It will improve the taste of your meals, but most importantly, it has health benefits. My name is Natalia Samarets, and on my channel we talk about natural ways to support your health. Today we're going to talk about ghee, or clarified butter. In Ayurvedic medicine, in Indian culture, ghee is considered one of the purest and healthiest fats, which can be used both in everyday diet and in various medical practices. Modern science is increasingly confirming what ancient Ayurvedic doctors described in their treatises. In Ayurveda, it was said that this fat nourishes our body and mind. If we want to talk in general about how ghee affects our health and our body, let's start with the digestive system. When it comes to the digestive system, it gives it energy and helps digest food. And that means it also improves the absorption of individual nutrients, better digestion, better absorption, and also better bowel function in terms of eliminating toxic compounds. If we're already talking about better functioning of the digestive system, it's clear that this is closely related to the immune system as well as to the psyche and the nervous system. So we can also say that ghee butter will support the functioning of the brain and the nervous system. But it's also worth mentioning here when it comes to the brain that it generally needs fat, good fat as a source of energy. And ghee butter is one of those healthy and necessary fats for our body because vitamins such as vitamin A, E, K, and vitamin D, which are also essential for proper functioning, dissolve in it. Additionally, fat in general is, among other things, a building block of the cell membrane and is needed by every cell in our body. Healthy fats are also needed to improve the condition of our ligaments, connective tissue, and joints. They simply improve the elasticity of these tissues. And Ayurvedic medicine also points out that fat works very well with medicinal herbs because many substances found in medicinal herbs are fat soluble. And fat, healthy fat, especially in Ayurveda, which is ghee butter, acts as a carrier for active compounds. Even scientific studies confirm that many lipophilic active substances are better absorbed in our bodies after they have been dissolved in ghee butter. If we look at scientific studies, the results are very interesting. Because in the past, even in these studies, it was mentioned that it used to be said that butter, including ghee butter, raises cholesterol levels. But the latest studies show that it lowers low-density lipoprotein cholesterol levels and raises high-density lipoprotein cholesterol levels. It kind of balances these proportions, lowers triglyceride levels, reduces cholesterol esters in the liver, and increases cholesterol excretion with bile. What's interesting is that most studies also show that even heated ghee butter has a very positive effect on our health. That means this is the butter we use, for example, to heat something up or gently saute. It's resistant to oxidation processes that usually occur in fats when we heat them, which is why it's a very good choice in the kitchen for baking and frying. Of course, we do everything in reasonable amounts and we don't heat too much. Because generally, if products are fresh and not additionally heat processed, they will definitely be healthier for us. And that's one of the reasons why ghee butter is resistant to high temperatures. And we know that it's oxidized cholesterol that harms blood vessels, not the regular kind that we get from such foods. That's why it's said that it protects the heart from damage and protects our body, our vessels, from developing atherosclerosis. In some publications, you can also read that it works very well as an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. And for problems like psoriasis, for example, there have been some really interesting studies showing that it significantly reduces skin inflammation, lowers the level of itching and discomfort, speeds up wound healing, and also moisturizes very well. And that's true both when used internally and externally as a comprehensive treatment. So you see, it might seem like it's just butter, but how does it actually work? Of course, I don't want you to get the impression that butter is a cure for all ailments. No, but butter is one of the foods in our diet that can have such a positive effect on us. And do you remember Hippocrates said that food should be our medicine? And if we don't want to get sick, if we want to take care of our health, first and foremost, we should eat foods that will support our health. And one of those foods is ghee butter. And I told you at the very beginning that you can buy this kind of butter in the store, or you can make it yourself. And making it yourself is really very simple. And even the butter you make yourself will definitely be better. It won't contain any preservatives. You will make it in a simple, natural way at home, using the right utensils, without any technological processes that are usually used when we buy a ready-made product in the store. And how do you make it? You buy regular, good quality butter. At least 82, but preferably 83% fat content, but no mixed products, so there shouldn't be any added vegetable fat. We don't need that at all because those are trans fats. So we buy good quality butter, put it in a pot, place the pot, or it can be some kind of heat-resistant container, glass or ceramic, into a larger container with water and put it on the stove. This is what's called a water bath, and then for 6 to 8 hours, or if you have time, even 12 hours, the butter sits in this water bath and melts, and it needs to simmer quietly. During that time, we can handle our own things. And those little bubbles, the tiny blisters that appear and that we see while cooking the butter, are actually air and water that are in the product. And on the surface, a delicate white layer forms, something similar to foam, which you need to gradually remove with a spoon. That's the milk protein which simply separates. And part of it will appear as a kind of foam on top, while some will settle at the very bottom of our pot. The longer the butter stays in the water bath, the darker it gets and the deeper its flavor becomes when the fat becomes completely clear, golden, and transparent like amber. We'll carefully pour it through cheesecloth, through a fine sieve, into a clean, sterilized jar or some kind of glass container. It doesn't need to be stored in the refrigerator. You can just keep it at room temperature. It won't spoil. If you need a bigger, better, more detailed instruction on how to make it, watch my earlier video where I showed how I make this butter, and you'll see how amazing its taste is. Most importantly, it has an amazing impact on our health, and you can add it, for example, to buckwheat or to roasted potatoes. You can also use it to fry scrambled eggs or gently saute onions if you need to. And it's very easy to incorporate into your diet. I'll tell you, once you get used to cooking with this kind of butter, you never go back to regular butter. And Ayurveda actually emphasizes that this is one of the best fats in our kitchen because it nourishes us well and supports our health. And let me know, my dears, who has this kind of butter in their kitchen, who eats ghee butter, and also tell me who makes this butter themselves. And I thank you very much for your attention. I wish you lots and lots of health and see you in the next recordings. Natalia Samarets was with you.